Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will begin in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will begin in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin.
Good evening, folks. If I could have your attention for just a moment. Good evening, folks. If I could have your attention for just a moment. So as we start to move into the room, I ask that everyone situate themselves, get seated, claim your seats, reclaim your seats so we can see where we're at capacity-wise. Again, we're not going to create any adverse issues as far as safety is concerned. So we have to see everyone in their seat so that we can ascertain how many more people we can accommodate. Please move to your seats, get comfortable so we can get the program started. Thank you.
Now, we welcome our African healing drummers who will open the space by calling on the ancestors. This will be followed by a libation. Is a cultural tradition practiced across the diaspora that honors our heritage and shared traditions. This ceremonial ritual involves pouring a clear liquid into the earth as an offering to acknowledge the daily presence and importance of our ancestors. Leading libation today is our sister, artist, storyteller, educator, and daughter of our beloved ancestor, the late great civil and human rights activist, Dick Gregory. Ladies and gentlemen, Ayanna Gregory.
Give the drummer some. Ashe. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Hi, yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to feel the energy in the rooms. Everybody repeat after me. Everybody say, hi, yeah, 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 yeah. Hi, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 everybody say, hi, yeah, 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 yeah. Hi, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, everybody say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. No more waiting, kick down the door. We are the ones we've been waiting for. No more waiting, kick down the door. No more living small, no more giving just a little. No more being shy, no more staying in the middle. We're about to take flight, so you better hold on. Flying through the night, put your night vision on. With the eye of the eagle, the heart of a lion, the wings of an angel to keep me flying. Light as a feather, cause I smile every day. The love in my heart, I give it away. Places we will go, things that we will see. Heaven only knows all that we will be. See the magic that you have. If you only knew who we really are, the things that we could do. Oh, Mother, Father, God, ancestors, spirit guides, all guardian angels and forces of love and light, we ask that you come to us and through us right here, right now. We ask that you guide us and protect us, help us to remember and recall who we are and who we was born to be. Ashe. We give thanks for Mother Earth. We give thanks for earth, wind, fire, and water, the elements that live outside of us and the elements that live inside of us. As we stand here in the middle of what some would call the worst of times and what others would call the best of times, what I know for sure is that we right on time. I know that we were built for this moment right here, right now. What we are witnessing in the midst of this wild, wild west, we are witnessing the falling of white supremacy, Ashe. We're witnessing a new day emerging, but it's going out kicking and screaming, Ashe. They're trying to roll back every bit of progress made, but it ain't going to work because there is a new day emerging. Because we understand there is an unseen world that controls the seen world, Ashe. And this world is ushering in a new day. My father, Baba Dick Gregory, said, fear and God do not occupy the same space, Ashe. And so let us pull on that power, that real power, right here, right now. So let us call on them. Let us call on the power and the wisdom of our ancestors from antiquity to the present, the mothers and fathers of human civilization in Africa, Ashe. So we call on the wisdom of the great civilizations of Kemet and Kush, Nubia, Ethiopia, Ashe. We call on the wisdom of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, Ashe. We call on you, creators of math, science, medicine, astronomy, language, art, music, and philosophy. We call on the high priests, the great kings and queens, the warriors, the magic makers, the shapeshifters, the storytellers, the artists, the scholars, the builders, the freedom fighters, the liberators, the healers, Ashe. Those who have come before us to make a way for us, Ashe. Those who continue to protect us from the other side. We pour libation for our ancestors who were ripped from their homeland, brilliant and beautiful Africans stolen from the motherland, forced to endure the African Holocaust, Ashe. To the millions of Africans who lost their lives along the way, we honor you, Ashe. For the millions of ancestors who survived the Middle Passage, for the ancestors who endured a lifetime of slavery in the Americas and abroad, we honor you, Ashe. For those who endured throughout 400 plus years of terror and injustice, we say Ashe. Those who, despite the assault on their lives and their humanity, continue to smile, love, and laugh, and create and seek freedom and humanity for their people, we say Ashe. And so, for all peoples, indigenous peoples around the world, it's a new day here now. So we're going to call on but a few of the names. Let us call on the names, and as we call on the names, each time we say a name, we will follow it with Ashe. Is that all right? So we call on the spirit of Imhotep, Ashe. Queen Tai, Ramses II, Queen Candace, Queen Nzinga, Shaka Zulu, Joseph Cinque, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Queen Ya Asantewa, Nani and Kojo of the Maroons, Sitting Bull, Sojourner Truth, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, Ida B. Wells, Dr. John Henry Clark, Winnie Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mary McLeod Bethune, Kwame Ture, Huey P. Newton, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, my father, Baba Dick Gregory, Bernice Johnson Reagan, Shireen Abu Akleh, Hind Rajab, Maurice Mpolo, Ishmael Al-Azari, Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Nikki Giovanni, Medgar Evers, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Coretta Scott King, Dr. Betty Shabazz. And lastly, we honor the warrior, the master teacher, the truth teller and the liberator, our shining black prince, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Ashe. On this day of your ascension, 60 years ago today, in this sacred space, as we call out your name, may we feel the vibration of your courage, your brilliance, your light, your love for our people. Malcolm X, because of you, we are. Malcolm X, because of you, we are. And to all of those light spirits, known and unknown, whose names we may never know, who continue to protect us and keep us and raise our vibration, we are eternally grateful. May your power live through us, and may we know with certainty that with your anointed presence and the presence of the Most High God, that victory is certain. That victory is certain. It is already done. And if we could stretch out our hands to the heavens, both hands to the sky, with outstretched hands, we say Ashe, 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 oh. Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. God bless y'all.
You're living at a time of extremism, a time of revolution, a time when there's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods. And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. Thank you.
Please join welcoming to the podium one of the 6 devoted daughters of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz, torchbearer of the Shabazz family legacy and chairperson of the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center, Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let us give our beautiful sister, Ayanna Gregory, and the African Healing Circle drummers from our hometown, Malak, right? Let's give them another round of applause for leading our libation ceremony. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Shabazz Center's 60th annual commemoration of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X. If you are a member of the Shabazz family, Malak, will you please stand as my baby sister? Little baby sister, one of the twins. My mother was pregnant with her and her twin sister when we saw our father gun down here. I know that my cousin Grace, our cousin Grace, is here. Where are you, cousin? Grace, Little, Hinton. Grace is she's right on my father's side. She's one of my first cousins. She and Malak look just alike. Where is Malcolm? Where are you, Malcolm? Malcolm, my nephew. Oh, actually, he's my cousin. That's right. And if you're a longtime friend of Brother Malcolm's and Sister Betty's, will you please stand? I know Mayor Davis is in the house. Yes. Steve Horton is in the house. Hope, her father was my headmaster or principal or something like that. And if you are a friend of the Shabazz family, please stand and give yourselves a round of applause. On behalf of my 5 tall, opinionated, and wonderful sisters, Atala, Kabila, Gamila, Malika, and Malak, who's with us this evening, our niece and nephews, Betty, Malcolm, and Malik, I'm honored to welcome you here as my sister Malak coined, to the house that Betty built. I'm honored to share this legacy and tradition that my mother, Dr. Betty Shabazz, began at Abyssinian Baptist Church when my sisters and I were just little children. I'm honored, Malak, to continue this legacy and tradition for our young leaders to uphold and carry forward for generations that follow. It is so important, right, that we are strategic, we are visionary, and we are passing that legacy forward. Malcolm believed that when we support and uplift our children, we nurture a generation of critical thinkers, astute leaders, and ethical change makers who will carry forward the work of liberty and justice. Brother Malcolm demonstrated that our ability to care must look beyond the boundaries of America. When he spoke of human rights, he spoke of a universal dignity that traces our collective humanity back to the cradle of civilization. He understood what scientists, anthropologists, and archaeologists have now proven, that Africa is not just a part of our story, it is where the human story begins. And so, if you will, imagine if all of our students, black, white, red, brown, green, yellow, imagine if they learned in world history that Africa is the cradle of the most advanced civilizations. If they learned about those ancient empires in Benin, Nigeria, Ghana, in Egypt, Ethiopia, Mali, the Congo, South Africa, civilizations that made significant contributions to the world in art, math, science, architecture, medicine, astronomy, religion, governance. If we taught all of our students the truth about Egypt and Ethiopia with the same depth and reverence we afford to ancient Greece and Rome, we might better appreciate the magnificence of African civilizations and their foundational role in shaping all of our humanity. My father said that informed minds are essential to creating meaningful change. Growing up, my parents made sure my sisters and I never relied on others to determine our self-worth. I've learned that the lessons of self-love and empowerment are more than personal revelations. They are the building blocks of social change. Self-love is not self-indulgence. It is self-determination. It is the foundation upon which we build movements, create change, and heal our society's deepest wounds. Recently, I visited with my brother at the African American Heritage Museum's consortium in Alabama, and it was in Birmingham, Selma, and Montgomery, Ben Crump, where I heard consistent stories of communities, churches, and homes being firebombed. They brought me back to February 14th, 1965, when our home was also firebombed in the middle of the night. Our home where my mother and father nurtured their children was no longer safe. 1 week later, on February 21st, 1965, in this very space, my mother, sisters, and I witnessed the political assassination of her husband, her young husband, our father. He was 39 years old. My mother, who was pregnant with my younger sisters, Malika and Malak, shielded us all from the gunfire. And my mother was a young woman, just a young woman. She wasn't even 30 years old. 60 years later, we are here in the very space where he transitioned to honor his legacy and to carry his work forward for the benefit of our children. And as we begin this evening's ceremony, let us give praise and gratitude to our ancestors whose stories and contributions have been omitted, rewritten, and improperly documented. As we face an era of profound challenges and opportunities, let us be the authors of our narratives and instill in our children the values of honesty, compassion, and forgiveness. Textbooks must teach that Black history is American history, and that American history also includes Latin American history, Native American history, Asian American history. There's no American history unless every voice is heard on the pages of our textbooks, and we need to make sure that our president and government and everybody understands that. And in that spirit, the Shabazz Center is proud to celebrate 6 incredible and inspiring awardees. Each of these individuals embodies many of these ideals reflected in their work. But first, on to tonight's opening performance. It is fitting that we welcome an artist who has portrayed Malcolm's journey on the operatic stage with incredible talent and stage presence. Kenneth Kellogg has established a reputation for impactful performances that are matched by his work in arts, advocacy, and community engagement. Kenneth has brought my father to life in Seattle Opera's powerful production of X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X. Accompanied by pianist Kyle Walker, I present to you Mr. Kenneth Walker.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Y'all feeling good? Somebody say freedom. Somebody say liberation. Somebody say Brother Malcolm. Somebody say Sister Betty. Family, we're here for a very, very important evening. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to do some shouting, some singing, some dancing, a whole lot of crying, a lot of love. This is a room filled with possibility. We're going to use this energy to remember those who have come before us and figure out how we're going to lead the world better for those who come after us. Can we agree to do that? All right. Now, before we do that, I want to just give another round of applause to the Seattle Opera. They killed that. I am so deeply honored to be here at the Shabazz Center to celebrate the Honorable El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X. And what a poignant time it is for us to be here together. What a moment. In the very space where his life was stolen from us, the very space 60 years ago where we lost our beloved brother. I want to thank my dear sister Ilyasah for her dedication and her leadership in helping to keep this legacy alive. Like so many of you, my first encounter with Malcolm X was through the pages of his autobiography. I don't remember why I picked it up. I only know that I did. And I ain't been the same since. My life was transformed. In that book, I learned the possibilities of literacy, the possibilities of being able to read into a new sense of understanding, to fight the lies that the world was telling us about ourselves, to rummage through the dustbins of history and retrieve pieces of truth that would allow us to understand our people and our mission. I remember reading that book and understanding the transformative power of love. I remember reading that book and understanding that there was no shame in not knowing. There was no shame in making mistakes. There was no shame in falling. The shame was in staying there. But if we stand up and we struggle and we listen and we learn and we love, we could be anything we want to be. Everything. Thank you, sister. We everything. And that's what this tradition is all about. But Malcolm X's story ain't just a personal story. It ain't just about me feeling better about me or you feeling better about you. This legacy is a legacy of liberation. What Malcolm X and Sister Betty produced is a legacy and a blueprint for liberation. Through Malcolm X's honesty, his intellectual discipline, and most importantly, his fierce, uncompromising love for us. Let me just say this. We're in a moment where a whole lot of people stand in front of us, but they don't represent us. It's too many people that lead us, but they don't love us. They ain't never protecting us. The only people that protect us is us. And we will continue to do that, but we ain't got to do it alone. The legacy of Malcolm and Betty is that we do this together. We are stronger together. When we close ranks and don't turn on each other, but turn to each other, we can be anything that we want to be. We can be everything that we want to be. And eventually, we will get free. But anyway, y'all ain't bring me here to talk. Y'all brought me to MC. Look. It's a brother here who I want to bring up right now, get things popping. This is a brother who I've known for a long time now. He get younger and handsomer every year. I get grayer, my hairline get more vulnerable. This is a brother who embodies Malcolm's teaching that power in defense of freedom is greater than power in behalf of tyranny and oppression. This is a man who is a champion for justice. This is a man who wields the spirit of justice in front of those cameras, but more importantly, in front of the courtrooms. He is an extraordinary brother. And the thing about, this is what I love about, and I'm going to tell you, ain't no spoiler alert. His name is Ben Crump. Y'all know who he is. Let me just tell you one thing about this dude. What I love about Ben is that some people will put on a good front in front of the cameras. They'll put on a good front when certain people watching. But Ben, when you call him at midnight or 5 a.m., he always up. He's always fighting for us. He's always standing up for us. And he don't just stand up for the cases that you see on Court TV or CNN. Even if the case don't make it to TV, even if nobody knows about it, if somebody needs help, if somebody has been victimized or somebody has been mistreated, Ben is there for them, and he speaks up for us, and he tells the truth about us, and he's done it for so long. You know him from Trayvon and Breonna and George Floyd and Flint and all over the world. There's a reason why Time Magazine named him one of the most influential people of 2021. It ain't that they could have did that every year, because even when Time don't recognize him, we recognize him. We love him. And now I'm going to ask you to give a warm round of applause to our brother. But let me tell you one more thing. I apologize. He ain't just here to make y'all feel good. This brother's doing the work on the ground. He is demanding justice for the Shabazz family. He is demanding accountability for the federal government's role in the assassination of Malcolm X and the cover-up of Malcolm X. We will not allow that to be hidden anymore. We will not allow the lies to prevail anymore. This man is going to get us to freedom. This man is going to get us justice. Rise to your feet for our brother, Ben Crump.
Happy Black History Month. Come on. You beautiful black people, happy Black History Month. Because as Dr. Hill could probably teach you at one of his lectures, our black history is under attack. And if we don't stand up and celebrate our black history, nobody else gonna celebrate our black history. So I say again to you all, happy Black History Month. Thank you for those kind words to the brilliant Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. Nothing but an old-fashioned freedom fighter, truth sayer, a true, strong black man. Y'all give him a big round of applause. To Ilyasah and Malik and the family lineage of Malcolm X, I, along with Attorney Ray Hamlin, Attorney Flint Taylor, Attorney John Walker, and many others on our legal team like Ron Baldwin, Kareem Ali, and those people who we call in the middle of the night like Lee Merritt and Arian Simone, because it's always a team effort, Linda. We all need each other together. Tamika Mallory. I mean, we all have to fight this battle together. And so Ray and I, we had a press conference earlier today because this is a historic day. It marks the 60th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X, one of the greatest thought leaders of the 20th century. And so on this historic day, we talked about our landmark lawsuit to fight for justice, 60 years and counting, to finally acknowledge the truth of those who participated in the conspiracy to assassinate Malcolm X and cover up the assassination of Malcolm X. We sued the NYPD, the FBI, the CIA, and the Department of Justice. And on this historic day, we formally requested from the president to declassify the Malcolm X papers once and for all. You see, brothers and sisters, he articulated in his executive order that the 1992 John F. Kennedy Records Accountability Act said after 50 years that the president could release the papers of what led up to his assassination and the investigation into the assassination of President Kennedy. And he said he had determined, because it was for truth and transparency for his family and the American public, that he was going to declassify those papers. He said not only was he going to declassify the federal FBI papers into John Kennedy, but also Senator Robert F. Kennedy and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And so what we said today, if it would provide truth and transparency for John Kennedy and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King, then why won't you declassify the papers for the family of Malcolm X once and for all, so we can know the truth and we can get some measure of justice for 60 years later? Because Ilyasah Malik, just because justice is delayed does not mean it will be denied. We will get justice for Malcolm X, and we will continue to fight today, tomorrow, and as long as it takes until we get justice. And in conclusion, I say this, brothers and sisters, and I know I'm speaking to the choir, Ray, but sometimes the choir got to sing louder. You all know this May 19th, 2025 will mark the 100th birthday of Malcolm X. And wouldn't it be only fair and proper for the city of New York and the federal government to do right by Malcolm X on his 100th birthday? So y'all, let's keep being vigilant and let's have the countdown to justice, the countdown to Malcolm's 100th birthday for truth and transparency. Thank you. God bless you. By any means necessary. Go.
Another round of applause for our dear beloved brother. It is now time for one of my favorite parts of doing this, as I do this now every year, we will be honoring several remarkable, really extraordinary individuals tonight with our Vanguard Awards. This is a big deal. Only special people get one. I got one. Each person embodies what Brother Malcolm and Sister Betty taught us. To put our phones on silent. That's what Sister Betty said. She said, put that iPhone away. But they also taught us that knowledge is our weapon, that dignity is our birthright, and that active resistance coupled with deep understanding can transform the world. So tonight we're going to give some special awards to some extraordinary people, but I have failed in my presentation abilities of these awards in recent times. I'm clumsy and funny looking, so no, I promise. So we got somebody who's far more gifted than me tonight to help out. Joining me to present tonight's awards is Miss Black USA, Kennedy Lucas. Can you join me up here, please? Give her a round of applause. Thank you, sister. Our first awardee embodies the spirit of Malcolm's teaching that education is the passport to the future. At just 16 years old, Jordan Mendez is already demonstrating what it means to be a vanguard. A vanguard is somebody who is leading in thought, somebody who engages in action and movement that create change. As president of the Moxie Project, Jordan has mobilized students across New York State to combat injustice in all forms. Through his work as an environmentalist, he is teaching his peers how climate change intersects with systemic racism. That's real. Some of us don't know that now. Jordan is also a poet who speaks truth to power. He's an organizer, building sustainable solutions through community farming. Make you feel like your teens were just wasted, don't it? I knew how to play Contra on Nintendo. And a young visionary who understands that words must lead to action. Something that surely would have made Brother Malcolm and Sister Betty so proud. Please join me in congratulating tonight's first Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award recipient, Jordan Mendez.
Ooh, feeling new up here. Hold on. How's everyone doing? May I get an ashe in here? There we go. Those of you in the crowd who know me know I have a high propensity to elongate sentences, which can otherwise be expressed in just a few words. Utilizing my generation's perverse neologisms, it's appropriate to say I'm something of a yapper. But when considering the message I want to leave you with today, as well as the guidance that Sharice has given me, thank you, Sharice, wherever you are, I figured I'd leave you with something simple, short, sweet, and classic, nostalgic, dare I say. My name is Jordan Mendez. I'm a 16-year-old organizer from Yonkers, New York, with a love for history, poetry, political science, and photography. But tonight, I'm taking on a new role. Tonight, I'll be a doctor. I've studied philosophical matters deeply over the past 4 years, and I'm a specialist in ethics, or as I like to call it, the study of the soul. I believe that ethics is the fabric that society is woven with, but I further believe that love is the fiber composing that fabric. When I first listened to El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz speak about self-hatred, not only did my heart open to loving myself, but my eyes opened to how little I truly loved others. And this is the basis of my organization, the Moxie Project. Moxie is built on the belief that no revolution can happen without love. I know some of you are smiling back there. This seems so intuitive, but that's my point. My initials are MJ for a reason. That's how easy love can be. It's like the ABCs. Your expression of love is not just in what you can see, but what you understand. Do you love humanity enough to love the idea of it? That is, do you love humanity enough to learn about the people you will never see and love them as your sibling? The people in the Congo, the people in Palestine, the people all across the world. Or you love them as your own, though you've never seen them. Do you love humanity enough to stop human suffering? I say our nation's greatest tragedy is that its lack of accessibility for moral consumption instills in us, our children, our people, a culture of hedonistic, decadent consumerism, which makes a muck of our purity and contaminates our soul. And frankly, I've seen we all have gone ill. Raise your hand if you have a cell phone. Raise that other hand if you're wearing any form of wool, polyester, leather, or cotton. Right, there we go. Matter of fact, with all the carbon emissions it took for everybody to get here, I would ask all y'all to stand up, but it's like, I know these chairs are a little bit tight. I'm not going to ask that of you. But you get my point. Brothers and sisters, I feel you. And I've diagnosed you all. And I've found the source of your symptoms. What can I say? I'm a phenomenal physician, I know. Now let me tell you, the cure, it's with me. Moxie is first designed to help the youth. My organization focuses on instilling in the youth the values they will need to deny immoral temptation and aims to support families in divesting from unethical industries through youth-led humanitarian efforts. We be teaching kids the importance of healthy eating and how eating your vegetables can actually be a form of protest, right, Mom? The values we instill in our youth leads them naturally to servicing our sick, our homeless, our neighbors. Here at Moxie, we don't leave the poor as wretches with nothing to pay the bills, unlike some people in office right now. We supply families with organic, locally grown cultural crops so they don't gotta rely on these multi-million-dollar industries that were built on the backs of black people. Moxie understands that a nation conceived in injustice cannot stand. It further worries about the future of our children, who, in defending their decadent culture, they may uphold oppressive systems to maintain them. We are worried they won't understand the importance of ethical consumption and community organization. More importantly, we are worried they won't care, because apathy is the antithesis of love, and those who are victims of apathy can become perpetrators of injustice. It is our job to fight, lead with principles, shop right, do right, and love right. I know what loving can do because Malcolm's love for African Americans set me free. It gave me the direction to start curing us from some of our spiritual illnesses. It is my honor, family, to accept this award, and I hope to see a day where our livelihood is not compromised by our lifestyle and where we are free from the injustice imposed upon us by our nation. Because we can never be free so long as we are unjust. Family, I want you all to be so free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. I love you all. Thank you so much. And I play Nintendo too.
Now for our next award, this award will be presented by our fearless leader, Ilyasah Shabazz. Yes.
Miss Black USA, could you come up and join us, please? You stay right there. Okay. I am pleased to personally present this next award. My father was quite adept at navigating and engaging with the media, which he once called the most powerful entity on earth. So it is fitting that our next awardee is a force with which to be reckoned within the media industry. And at a time when we need Black media and reliable journalism the most. As the co-founder and chief visionary officer of Wanga Woman LLC and president and CEO of Essence Ventures, Caroline A. Wanga is redefining what it means to pursue purpose, democratize authenticity, and instigation alley inspire every person to play the role they are best positioned to impact. As she is accomplished in the nonprofit and retail sectors at Essence Ventures, Wanga continues to disrupt the status quo of media's operating model with emphasis on elevating the coexistence of the global Black community through a portfolio of powerful brands that define culture, pursue equity, and amplify celebration. In 1992, my mother was honored by the Essence Awards as a woman of great strength and courage, and as a role model for millions of women who were watching. 33 years later, it is our true honor to present the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award to Essence Ventures President and CEO and co-founder of Wanga Woman LLC, Ms. Caroline A. Wanga.
Hey, y'all, I wasn't gonna cry today. Jordan, you and I have two things in common. The first of them is we were both pregnant with something at 16. Yours was purpose, mine was a baby. And for everybody that tried to renegotiate my potential without my permission, I'm so grateful for what you have been impregnated with, because you're healing 16-year-old Caroline. Thank you. The second thing we have in common, you called it making sentences too long. I call it intellectual flatulence that sometimes sounds verbose. So I know we've been given a certain amount of time for these remarks, and when Tiana over there raises her hand, that means I have a minute left. Y'all raise it too if I don't see her, and I promise I will honor my time. I have a statement that I often use that says, who you are is who you are. If you cannot be who you are, where you are, you change where you are, not who you are. Now, often when I give those remarks, I'm talking about a where that could be physical, I'm talking about a where that could be spiritual, I'm talking about a where that could be psychological, pick your where. But every once in a while, you don't get to pick your where. And you don't get to pick your where because your who has been called to the purpose it is supposed to give to the world. And the reason why that where will fit you is because it'll take everything you've been gifted with to do what the moment requires. I don't care who you are. We are in a where that mandates action. Your self-preservation is no consequence to me, because the very thing you're worried about losing ain't going to be there anyway if you don't take action. And I am one of those people who does not have a prepared script for what I'm going to tell the next 7 generations if I hand off a world with less than what I inherited. I will be ashamed. But I also know I have a set of gifts and a whole bunch of gifts that are not mine. But to give you a little bit of who I am, yes, Essence Ventures is a part of the where that I'm serving my purpose now. But I am a girl who is, through the power of intuition, living in indignant pursuit of her purpose. But I'm also a girl who has a really loud inner saboteur. And her favorite way to attack is my worthiness. And her volume goes up when recognition presents itself, which makes moments like tonight really hard. Not because of whether or not I deserve it, more because most of the time I think I don't. So how do I exist in these moments? I exist in making them recognition to you. I am what happens when a community holds on to a dream until the person who owns it can carry it on their own. If at 17 years old, nobody thought I could do anything, what the hell am I doing here? As president and CEO of one of the most precious cultural artifacts to our beloved community that I don't know jack squat about journalism. So why am I here? I'm here because for every person that removed what my intelligence could do and what my action could do because I had a baby girl, in this moment I am taking every ounce of energy they sent to me and saying thank you for not believing, because I probably would have taken a little easy on y'all. But because you came after me, I returned. But I only returned because I was cared for by community. There is a quote that was offered as a part of being here, and I'm going to thank the family in a minute, but I'm going to close it that way. There's a quote that has been everywhere, sister, that says, I'm for justice no matter who it is for or against. I'm a human being first and foremost. And as such, I'm for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. The patriarch of the Shabazz family. Why does that matter? Because we are sitting in a season where there's 2 words in that quote, by the way, human and being. The human one we can't do nothing about. You are what you are. The being is where we've got to step it up right now. Because in a moment where humanity is disappointing itself, we can't figure out where morality is sitting. Why do people not care about each other in the way that they do? And why do those people who choose to annihilate other people's humanity sleep at night? Like where does that sit within you that you can close your eyes and rest, knowing you are taking away people's livelihood, knowing you are reversing decades of work to advance? And what I am sitting in, community, for what you did to raise me is a moment in time where my who believes that the being part of human being is where we're called, and our being is to be beings right now. And being beings is taking what you were born with and giving it to the person who didn't know who you were but needed it. It's having the courage to do what Attorney Crump is doing and what so many others are doing to advance us. But more importantly, it's understanding that no matter who the forces are that come up against us, they can't unhuman us. They can unbeing us. So be careful in distraction. Don't make it easy for them. Ignore the flashing light and look at the problem. There is another component that Malcolm stated that I think ties to where I am today and what I'd like to be there for you, which is this. He talked about this idea of advocating for intellectual fortitude and active resistance. And what I want to say is I'm concerned that we have switched that and we're now living in passive allegiance and blind acceptance. I'm not sure what else you need to know how much threat we're sitting under right now. There is no room for your schedule, your corner office, your cul-de-sac, your condo, your luxury vehicle, your home, your education, because every single one of those things is on the list to be undone. So in this season, which I rarely use notes, but because I stand on hallowed ground, I was giving myself some backup. In this season reduced to the most basic needs, to remind us of how equipped we already are to coexist equitably. Systems are under attack, and it is human to feel all the feelings about that, but not without recognizing the power of being that systems can undo, unravel, and undermine or unseat. We need to show how beings be. That's what we are being called to do in this time, and that we are encouraging some and enraging others as we take under work. Ironically, both parties get their way of being beings. One wins, the other loses. The game's still happening. So I offer a quote I often give, which is, this is an all-in, full-contact, participatory endeavor. Everybody plays a role, not the same role, but the role they're best positioned to impact, and the choice not to play a role plays a role. The choice not to play a role plays a role. There's no safe neutral in the urgency of today. You don't have to be able to do what I do, and I don't have to be able to do what you do, but damn it, if we all do what we're supposed to do. It is about playing the role you're best positioned to impact and honoring this unmitigated gall that is true to our culture, that armors our action. I come from a country that sits on the equator. I know, I ended up in Minnesota. There's therapy for that. Because what is this white stuff on the ground? Snow, not people. But that too in Minnesota. Anyway, when I would get sick when I was younger, or I'd have a fever, I always want to go out to the sun. I think it made me feel better to kind of balance my body temperature. And so as we sit in an ailment of humanity, I'm coming out to community to feel better. And when I come out to community to feel better, I want to see everybody maximizing what Jordan has within him and what you have within you for this fight. Because you will never lose if you do everything you need to do. You will if you keep trying to make sure somebody else is. And waiting for the march you to get invited to, or the press conference. Or for you to get your assignment for what you need to do in this moment. You don't need an assignment. You were born with one. Find it. If you need help, guess where you go? Community. They know. Because they've been watching you and they see you better than they see yourself. I didn't know what I was born to do till somebody told me. Because I had an inner saboteur that intentionally didn't want me to see it. And the only way she was silenced was the people in community that did not allow me to believe those that said my potential would be different. And then inserted within me the indignant pursuit of purpose that my intuition follows, that landed me at Essence Ventures and will take me to the next place. Whether it be the C-suite of a $100 billion company that's Target, whether it be sitting at the helm of the steward of this cultural artifact and whatever comes next. If I'm here, you can be where you're supposed to be too. But what I'm going to ask you to do as I take my seat is take in the words of the matriarch of the Shabazz family. And for me, her words are exactly what I would offer you today as you leave this room and do one more thing than you were planning to do today in service of somebody other than yourself. Not because I think you're selfish, but because somebody else needs to see you doing something so they can join you, learn from you, get from you. The matriarch of the family said this: I wish you power that equals your intelligence and your strength. I wish you success that equals your talent and determination. And I wish you faith. Family, whether it's Essence Ventures telling stories of us that no longer accommodate being minimized, whether it's you taking action on all the things, Jordan, that at 16 years old I couldn't even spell, whether it's what my sister Linda is doing and the other honorees are doing to drive their part. We are at an urgent time where what you were born to do in this world has been called up. And if you continue to ignore the calling, I need you to prepare what you're going to tell the next 7 generations of people about why you had things they no longer do. And more importantly, what you're going to do when you get to whatever spiritual realm you believe after this, to say to the people like Malcolm and others who fought with less than you have today, you need to do more with more. They did more with less. So, family, community, Jordan, I leave you with the words I opened with. Who you are is who you are. If you cannot be who you are where you are, you change where you are, not who you are. And for those that are like me who may struggle with worthiness, take action anyway and come to the safety of community. They will care for you. To the Shabazz family, thank you for seeing me worthy. But more importantly, thank you for moving the baton further ahead. I'm taking the next leg of the race. Thanks.
That was powerful. And I got to tell you, even she is something else. Even when she was 16, she had a purpose. Even when she was pregnant, she had a purpose. We all have a beautiful, powerful purpose. And to watch these award winners live up to their purpose is extraordinary. And we're not the only people recognizing it. I just want to let you know that each Vanguard Award recipient has also received a citation from New York City Council. So please understand that it's not just us that recognize this. It says, whereas a great city is only as great as those persons who give exemplary service to their communities, whether through unique personal achievement in their professional or other endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of philanthropy and community service. And whereas such service, which is truly the lifeblood of the community and the city, so often goes unrecognized and unrewarded, now therefore be it resolved that as a duly elected member of the New York City Council, we recognize the 60th annual anniversary Black BHM Celebration / Vanguard Award. That is to say, they are honoring these people in the spirit of Black History Month. They are honoring the Shabazz Center, and they are recognizing our Vanguard Award winners. So please give them another round of applause. So we got more awards to go. We got a lot of stuff happening tonight. But before we do that, I'd like to turn your attention to a very special message from the indomitable New York Attorney General, Letitia James.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this evening's event. I've been looking forward to engaging with the Shabazz Center. And what better way than on the occasion of your annual Vanguard's award ceremony, where you honor outstanding individuals who demonstrate excellence, principled resistance, and unapologetic Blackness. Most of all, it is in keeping with the philosophy of the late, great Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz, after whom this institution is named, who both dedicated their lives to the cause of human dignity, unity, and self-empowerment for the Black community. And tonight's awards ceremony recognizes that distinct mission at the Shabazz Center, a mission to meet the educational, cultural, and social needs of Black people in general, and Harlem in particular, but also to create a learning environment that activates the next generation of leaders in the movement for global racial equity and justice. And that is how we honor the legacy of our heroes and leaders, Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. So thank you to the Shabazz Center and to Malcolm and Betty's beautiful, beautiful brown baby girls, and for honoring your parents legacy by being warriors in this ongoing battle for truth and a better, more just America. Thanks to your actions today, we are building a better future for generations to come. We were blessed to have Malcolm and Betty in our lives, and I am privileged to have this opportunity to speak with all of you tonight. Congratulations. Thank you. God bless you. See you soon. Letitia James.
All right, y'all, we got so much. There's so many talented people in this room, and we have another amazing performance coming up with Stephanie Jordan. The band's going to get situated, and while they do, I want to talk to you about this centennial. May 19th, woo, can you believe it? It's been 100 years. May 19th is going to mark the 100th birthday of our brother and minister, Malcolm X. 100 years of a life and legacy that has enraptured and moved and motivated and inspired millions, if not billions, of people across this earth. We are spearheading the planning for Malcolm 100 right now. It's a series of celebratory, reflective, and community-building events and learning that's taking place not just in New York, not just on the East Coast, but all around the world. And we're making this a global event because it's important to commemorate the legacy and the impact that Malcolm X had on the world, both while he was alive and now as we carry on his legacy. So everybody, we need your help. We need your support. Please visit the website and stay connected for our upcoming events. And if you love Malcolm like we do, and I know y'all do, come and join our community. Be a volunteer and fortify your purpose. Let me say this. I love when y'all come out to the events. I love when y'all support the events. But these events only happen with your investment. Some of that is financial, but it's also your time. We need folk to volunteer and to be here to help us make this happen. That is the spirit of this tradition, is for us to come together and do this work together. So we got a performance coming up, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. Just hang tight.
I'd like to dedicate this song to the Shabazz family, written by the great Abby Lincoln. How many of you know Abby? Abby wrote the words that Black women think and feel inside. And I sing this song everywhere I go, and I'm so grateful to be here and to sing it for you. And it's a sing-along at the end, so you can get in on it if you want to. I think about the life I live, a figure made of clay. Think about the things I've lost, things I gave away. But when I'm in a certain mood, I search the halls and look. One night I found these magic words in a magic book. Throw it away, throw it away. Give your love, live your life each and every day. Just keep your hands wide open. Let the sun shine through, 'cause you can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. There's a hand to rock the cradle. There's a hand to help us stand with a gentle kind of motion as it moves across the land. And a hand unclenched and open, gifts of life and love it brings. Just keep your hands wide open if you need anything. Throw it away. Throw it away. Give your love. Live your life each and every day. Just keep your hands wide open. Let the sun shine through, 'cause you can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. Obligation to what we own and claim, possessing and belonging to, acknowledging a name. Just keep your hands wide open if you need love today. You can't lose it even if you throw it all away. Throw it away. Throw it away. Give your love and live your life each and every day. Just keep your hands wide open. Let the sun shine through. You can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. You can never ever lose a thing if it belongs to you. Sing it with me. You can never ever lose a thing if it belongs to you. I can't hear you. You can never ever lose a thing if it belongs to you. You can never ever lose a thing if it belongs to you. You can never ever lose a thing if it belongs, if it belongs to you. Throw it away. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
there's a whole sermon in that chorus. You can't lose a thing if it belongs to you. Sometimes we be chasing stuff that ain't ours. Some of y'all gonna do that as soon as y'all leave here. But seriously, that is a beautiful idea. Odu Inu Ifikwan, as the Akan of West Africa say, love never gets lost on its way home. There's a beauty in that. Let's give another shout out to the sister who just sang. Her voice was amazing. And just so y'all know, Stephanie Jordan comes from New Orleans, one of the most beautiful towns in the world, one of the extraordinary musical traditions in the world, and the site of the Super Bowl that my Philadelphia Eagles won. No extra charge for that. There you go. There's some Philly people here. I can tell Philly people. Oh, yes. Stephanie Jordan, though, man, she's from New Orleans. She's the daughter of the late saxophonist and educator Edward Kidd Jordan, and her musical roots run deep, including her siblings, flutist Kent Jordan, trumpeter Marlon Jordan, and classical violinist Rachel Jordan. Now, I got to tell you, because as a husband of a Howard, I understand the importance of mentioning that she is a graduate of Howard University. And she's done a lot of other extraordinary things, but I think Howard people will say that that is the most extraordinary thing she's ever done and will ever do in her life. I want to bring up another Vanguard awardee, and this one is just another extraordinary person, and someone who I know personally and someone who I love a great deal. I'm proud to present this next award to somebody who is truly my sister and sincerely one of the bravest people I have ever known. Ooh. Through Sister Betty and Brother Malcolm, we have been taught to recognize that the struggle of black people in America is and always has been fundamentally tied to the liberation movement sweeping across other parts of the world. They understand intrinsically that racial justice in America was part of a global system that needed to be confronted on an international scale. That is most powerfully demonstrated in Malcolm's perspectives on the struggles of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. That's right, free Palestine. During his visit to Cairo in 1964, Brother Malcolm gave a speech in which he said the problem that exists in Palestine is not a religious problem. It is a question of colonialism. It is the question of a people who are being deprived of their homeland. I couldn't be more honored to bring up this person. Her name is Linda Sarsour. Let me tell you just something about her real quick. She is a proud Palestinian Muslim American. She's a diehard New Yorker, and just like Howard people, she's also equally strident about saying she is from Brooklyn, and she is one of our generation's most powerful voices. She is the co-founder of Empower Change and Until Freedom. She has built bridges between communities, understanding, as Malcolm did after his Hajj. She understands that our liberation is bound together. She's led transformative movements from co-chairing the largest single-day protest in U.S. history, the Women's March on Washington, to fighting for justice for Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky. She's been named Time Magazine's one of the most 100 influential people. But I just want to say, there's a lot of people that ask for solidarity from us, but don't show up for us. She represents the opposite of that tradition. Linda be there every day, day and night, standing up for us, fighting for us, getting arrested for us, shedding blood for us, crying tears for us, praying with and for us, and fighting for justice for us. So please give a round of applause to my sister, Linda Sarsour.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon you all. That is how our dear brother El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz would have greeted you if he was in this room today. I want to say to the Shabazz family, in a world that wants to eradicate Palestinians, in a world that turns a blind eye to the injustice, to the horror of genocide, that you decided today on the 60th anniversary of the commemoration of the assassination of our dear brother El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz to give me this opportunity, I take it with great honor. But this honor is not just for me. It is for the brave and resilient Palestinian people. There are people who have shown the world the embodiment of resilience and a faith so unwavering that most cannot understand, nor can they explain. Malcolm walked those hallowed grounds in Gaza. He went to the Khan Yunis refugee camp. He shared sisterhood and brotherhood with the Palestinian people. Malcolm always spoke truth to power and always was a fierce critic of the apartheid state of Israel. El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz is why I am. He helped root me in my own faith that wasn't just about performative worship, but it was about truth and justice. We do this work because of a fear of God, but not because God is scary, but because we fear to disappoint God. We also believe, as Muslims, that we are to stand up against injustice even if it's against our own parents. We also believe, and El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz believed, that the day we die is already decreed. When we are born as Muslims, we believe that the day that we are going to die is already recorded. So no evildoer, no racist, and no bigot has power over our lives. So the day that El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz was stolen from us was because the Lord decreed that to happen. And the Lord also decreed that Malcolm continue to teach us from his grave. There is generations of Malcolms that are out here speaking truth to power no matter the consequences. And for those of you who are organized with me on the streets of New York or the streets of Louisville, Kentucky, or Atlanta, Georgia, you know me, I be outside everywhere. I can't even remember all the places that I be. But the consequences are real. There have been many in our movements that we have lost because they tried to emulate the fierceness and courage of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Malcolm also believed in rizq is from Allah, and that means that wealth is from the Lord. So he didn't worry about opportunities. He didn't worry about people pulling a contract or not inviting him to a university or not getting paid that honorarium. Because what we believe as Muslim is what is meant for us will be. And what is not meant for us will not be. And what is good for us will come. And the Lord always decrees what is good. And so tonight, I take this with great honor and humility. And I thank the Shabazz family for recognizing me, because when you recognize me, it's not just me. You recognize Palestinian Americans all over this country. You recognize fierce young people and protesters on college campuses who are choosing to stand up against genocide in this moment. And I know if our dear El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz was alive today, he would be applauding and empowering those young people in every corner of this country. And I will end by saying this. My belief has always been that Palestinian liberation is tied and bound with the liberation of Black people all over this world, including here in the United States of America. It is not if, it is when. And I promise you, in our generation, we will see full liberation for the Palestinian people, and we will see full liberation for all of us here, including Black Americans here in the United States of America. And I will end with a dua for our dear El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Oh Allah, forgive him and have mercy on him and give him strength and pardon him. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir. Takbir. Such a powerful night. Give my sister another round of applause, please. It is now time. It's like jazz over here, the way we improvise it. I'm now pleased to introduce one, or I should say another, because there's so many of them tonight, another dynamic and fearless woman who also happens to be a past Vanguard Award recipient. This person is a philanthropist. She is an author. She is an entrepreneur. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Fearless Fund, a venture capitalist firm that invests in under-resourced entrepreneurs. So if you got an idea for her and you think it's the perfect idea, don't meet her in the back. Send her an email. At a time when nefarious forces are actively rolling back access and opportunity for marginalized people are dwindling, she continues to be a vocal advocate for Black economic freedom and empowerment. Please give a round of applause for Ariane Simone Reed.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have any written remarks. This, for me, has to come purely from my heart in this moment. Yes, my sister in Soror, Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz, asked me to do the ask this evening, and I am humbled and honored to have this moment with you guys. Again, my name is Ariane Simone Reed, and I serve as the CEO and founding partner of the Fearless Fund, which is the nation's first venture capital fund built by women of color for women of color. Thank you very much. Again, like I said, this for me is very personal when it comes to talking about advocating with our dollars. We as African Americans have built this country, but yet there are very few places that we can call home. The Shabazz Center is one of those places that we can call home. Money is called currency for a reason. There is an energy and a flow when you partake in the exchange of money. It is time that we advocate with our dollars. We are under serious attack as it pertains to our history, American history and Black history. People are trying to ban our books. People are trying to erase us from history. People are trying to stop our access to capital, and the list goes on and on and on. But like Ayanna Gregory stood here today and she said, we are the people that we are waiting for. And last year, when we were standing up here, myself, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, are you there? Is Mark still in the building? Attorney Ben Crump, we all petitioned the audience to believe in this cause and preserving the legacy of Brother Malcolm X and our sister, Dr. Betty Shabazz. And I am here today to encourage you all to advocate with your dollars, because what you put your money to shows what you value. People can look at your bank accounts and identify your values. The reasons why reparations haven't taken place in this country, because that means there is a value on it. Today, we have to put our values to use. We have to donate by any means necessary today. And I will start by even being an example. Where is the code? We got a QR code or? Okay, thank you. Is it facing everybody where they can snap it? Last year when we stood up here, Dougie Fresh said, hey, if we all do a little, then nobody has to do a lot. So I'm going to stand here and commit my little, but I need people to back me up. Are you guys going to back me up? So my little, I'm going to commit today, and your little may be $5. But today, my little I'm committing today is $5,000. Somebody said, well, is anybody going to match me in the building? Last time I had a match in the building. She said, sure did. No. Oh, you gonna match me? Okay, Ben. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody contributing at the $1,000 level, stand up. Thank you, Linda. Yes. Okay. Don't leave her out here, community. You all, this is important. This is about preserving legacy. This is for our children's children to be able to know of the contributions that Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz contributed to not just this country, but to this world. So we got somebody at $1,000 level. I'm going to bring it down to $500. Uh-oh, I see a hand in the back. Thank you so much. Another hand over here. Stand up, stand up. We need to cheer for you guys. We're doing good, y'all. So, y'all, we're at $12 for the night. We are going to move down to the $250 level. Who has $250 that they can do? Uh-oh, stand up, sister. I see you. Yes, 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 you got to stand. We're going to clap for you. Uh-oh, we got another at $250. Another at $250. Okay, I hope somebody is keeping track because I'm just up here talking, y'all. So I hope we're somewhere around $13,000 right now for the night. The $100 level, I need you all to stand up at the $100 level. I see your hand, sister. I see your hand, brother. Stand up at the $100 level. Oh, we got plenty in the room. I see you, Kareem. We have plenty at the $100 level. You said what? You at the $500 level? See, we done brought it back. She said we're going to rewind back to the $500 level. You all who are at the $50 level, stand up. Stand up at the $50 level. I hope somebody is keeping track again. You guys, the $25 level. This is where things matter. Contributing $25 a month on a monthly basis does a lot. Again, how you show up and advocate with your dollars matters. This is how we make change collectively. And I'm going to do one last one because like I said, I believe in the $5 donor. Who's got 5 on it? Stand up. Yes, if you got 5 on it, we are still here. So I want to thank you guys. Hold on. What? Ilyasah, what? Oh, gosh, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to go see it.
Okay, so Kendrick.
If you committed to a donation, whatever level it was, if you stand up again briefly, I'm going to get some contact information from you.
Come to the stage. She wants to come to the front.
Ilyasah wants you to come up so you can get your just due.
Come to the front.
Come up to the front, please.
Make sure the claps keep going. Woo! Ben Crump. Okay, it was more people than that. Make sure you come up here and get your just due. The Shabazz family would like to greet you. Cousin Grace, is she still in the building? Oh, she's in the back. Okay. The family would like to greet you all, so please make sure that you guys come up here in front, take a photo. We want to thank you all for definitely contributing to the legacy of the Shabazz family and the Shabazz Center. You all, this is Black History. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Mark Lamont Hill back to the stage.
All right, family. How y'all feeling? You all right? Stay with me now. We got a little bit, actually we got a lot more for you. All good stuff. I want to bring up this brother who's going to introduce our next Vanguard Award winner. The brother who's going to introduce the award is S. Lee Merritt, Esquire. Lee Merritt is a powerful voice in today's movement for justice. He's a founding partner of Merritt Law Firm and the Grassroots Law Project. He's taken on some of the most consequential civil rights cases of our time. Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Tatiana Jefferson, and he has had tireless advocacy that not only has won justice for victims of police violence and racial terror, but has also helped bring crucial issues to our national and even international attention. He's also my fellow board member here at the Shabazz Center. Please give a round of applause for our dear brother, S. Lee Merritt, Esquire.
Ashe. Ashe. I just learned Ashe means power. Ashe means power. One more time, Ashe. The sister that I have the privilege of introducing to no one, I called my sister Ilyasah and I said, hey, I've been gone. I had fallen off the face of the planet. I was in Bolivia, and I popped back up out of nowhere and said, hey, you guys are honoring Jasmine Crockett. Do you mind if I do it? And she was like, yeah, you know, I mean, we had someone honoring her, and I was like, no, it's really important because I know her. And she was like, yeah, I know her too. And then Brother Ben Crump was like, yeah, I know her too. And my sister Ariane was like, yeah, I know her too. And it turns out that my dear brother, you were on to something. There's a cheat code here. The people who know Jazz love our community, and they identify the love in her. So I moved to Texas from Philly, and I thought I was going to be a big bad Philly lawyer upsetting North Texas. I was going to help the country folks out, right? I got there and was confronted with their leadership on the ground. A young sister who was organizing already, who was going to show me the ropes already, who was going to quickly try to bring me up to speed so that I could effectively serve the community. Her name, she was a young criminal defense attorney named Jasmine Crockett. And I was working for the school, yeah, please. I was working for the school district. I was recruiting. I was a lawyer, but I hadn't yet started my practice in Texas, so I asked Jasmine, hey, do you think I can partner with you? And the sister said, yes. And together, we began with representing victims of police violence in Texas. There was a young woman who recently passed away, Jacqueline Craig, who was our first client that we represented together, I believe, in 2015. In 2017, a beautiful young man that some of you may have heard of named Jordan Edwards was murdered in North Texas, in Dallas, Texas. And no police officer in the history of Dallas County had ever been held accountable for taking a young black life, ever, period, zero. Working with Jasmine Crockett, we not only saw the first conviction of Jordan's murderer, Roy Oliver, who went to prison for murder. We saw a sequence, a pattern of a police accountability develop in one of the least likely places in the country. And I want you all to know how that happened. Jasmine Crockett began to organize her community. She began to teach me about what levers to push. She saw I had a big mouth and a lot of bravado, but she started teaching me, like, could you direct that over here? We would come to our apartment complex, and we would go over the movie 13th by Sister Ava DuVernay, and we would learn about the system. And then we would organize protests and figure out how to take it to the streets. And she began to radically change North Texas, so much so that she became an elected state official. Now, this is before she became the woman that you all saw on TV telling Marjorie Taylor about herself, because my favorite alliteration, because the bleach blonde, bad-built, butch-body woman decided to talk about her physical characteristics. And Jasmine, it could be, this again, I hate to get into these little sub-stories, but I almost got in a fight. My last physical fight, some dude looked at the TV, I was in the airport, and he says, oh, she just did that loud black woman thing. And I almost did the angry black man thing. She's not, she has charisma, but she's not driven by charisma. She has education, but it's not her education that took her here. It's her love, her passion for her community. And I've identified that. I had a chance to meet our sister Simone, Arian Simone, who was doing nonprofit work years ago, and I never thought that she would, be someone who changed essentially, and our sister continues to change the world with so many of our vanguards. She, of course, already knew Jasmine at the time. When I met Brother Ben Crump, I was like, oh, you got to meet my sister here. She's, we working together. And Jasmine was like, shut up, I've been knew Ben since undergrad, right? People who love our community, we find each other. We feed off of each other. And Jasmine is a center of love. So I jumped in and begged to be able to do this introduction because I think I know her, but you all know her because you all love our community. Could you all join me in giving a big round of applause for our champion, U.S. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Trying to say I'm short. We gonna have a problem? Okay. Don't make me come up with an alliteration. Well, good evening. And I'm not gonna hold y'all. No, I can't. I can't hold y'all because allegedly my party ain't been out talking enough, so I've been talking all week long. Thank you. They've been keeping me busy, and I got a flight first thing in the morning, so I got to get to JFK in a second. But first of all, let me just say thank you, because I think that so often, so many people fail to do the very gracious thing of just saying thank you. And y'all heard from so many people that I love already. And so if y'all have ever watched me in committee, y'all know I'm always prepared, and then I always go somewhere else. And so I am prepared, but I'm definitely not going to read through whatever my staff wrote. Really what I want to tell you is that I'm actually going to pick up where Lee left off. There are people that have been doing the work regardless as to whether or not you knew their names. And there is an amazing black woman who is no longer with us. And this black woman did not wear my amazing colors of crimson and cream. Instead, she wore pink and green. But Coretta Scott King said that freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. And so the fact that Lee started talking about all these connections, let me tell you, I don't know what Ben thought when he met me. I really don't. I'm not going to tell y'all how old I am. I know y'all can Google. And I know a lot of y'all be like, wait a minute, she that old? Yes, I am. I'm fully grown.
But Ben met me when I was just in my 20s. And I was participating in the National Bar Association. And he didn't know me from anybody else. But I was a young lawyer that was thirsty for mentorship from someone that I admired. And you know what? He didn't brush me off to the side. He had my back. So I want y'all to know, because a lot of times people say, well, where did you come from? I want you to know that there have been amazing warriors that some of you know their names, and some of these people, you don't know their names, but they have been pouring into me. I didn't just pop up one day all of a sudden on the scene and somehow end up in Congress. Now, I know that MAGA tries to pretend that I'm a DEI hire or whatever it is that they want to say.
We got your back, Jasmine.
And listen, I'm going to lean in. I'm going to tell you I am a DEI hire. Because the reality is that there were people that had to fight so that I could have a seat at the table. Because there was a time in which they did not have districts such as mine, and that was before the Voting Rights Act. It was the Voting Rights Act that was signed into law by a Texan, probably the last time we had a good Texan up in D.C. That was signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson. And it created Section 2 seats, which is what I currently occupy. I have a majority-minority seat where black people are the ones that are supposed to choose their representation. And I am proud to say that the black people in Texas 30 have chosen me not once but twice. But see, people want to play and act like our history is irrelevant. And they don't want our history taught. But I am here to tell you that our history really isn't that far away. You see, we only just started making progress. We talk about the fact that we're celebrating that it's been 60 years, and it's not really a celebration. We're commemorating the fact that 60 years ago, one of our fearless leaders was killed. And let me tell you, but for the work of fearless leaders like Brother Malcolm and Sister Betty, I don't know that I would be standing here as the 55th black woman ever elected to Congress. But let me tell you, right, it's only 55. Well, now there's more, but I'm just saying I was number 55. But it's interesting because one of the things that he said that I love, and Lee went into it as well when he was talking about fighting. The most disrespected person in America is the most unprotected person in America is and the most neglected person in America is there you go. The reason that I am consistently disrespected, because Lee also talked about that one from Georgia, is because they know my power. And the reason that they try to change diversity, equity, and inclusion into a slur is because they know that but for, I don't even want to say, I ain't going to say it that way. But for the systems that currently exist, without something like diversity, equity, and inclusion, then we could have a lot of incompetent, unqualified, you know, the people that currently occupy the White House and that administration. That's why they don't want diversity, equity, and inclusion, because I'm sure that everybody in this room knows that wherever we've gotten in life, we've always had to work 10 times as hard. The fact that Marjorie and I are allegedly on the same level tells you what it looks like to have diversity, equity, and inclusion in this country. The final thing I'll say, because I said that I'm not going to hold y'all, is that I know that right now a lot of you sit here with a heavy heart. And that is because we care. And one thing about black folk, especially black women, the 92%. The 92% said we tired. The 92% said the rest of y'all figure this out. But here's the reality. The 92% have always carried this country. And while we may be tired, I can tell you, I know that the 92% and everybody else is about to be in this fight. Because one of the things that yet another disrespected black woman in this country said, and that is the former Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. When she gave her concession speech, let me tell y'all, I couldn't get out of bed. I was like, I can't go. And I was getting text messages and calls. I was like, I can't go. I can't get out of bed. And then I thought about it. I thought about how everybody wants to be by your side when everything is all good. But you need people the most when things aren't. And so I got up looking a hot mess. I think I had taken my braids out. I was just, y'all, it was a struggle. And I didn't know if she'd see me or not, and it didn't really matter. What mattered is that I stood with her the entire time, and she knows that I was there 10 toes down. So I have a couple of charges for you. In that concession speech, once I finally got up, the one thing that continues to play over and over in my head is she talked about that only in the darkness can we see the stars. I am here to tell you that this room is full of stars. Listen, there were a lot of people that never imagined me sitting in Congress, somebody who is unapologetically black every single day, and I walk in fearlessly every single day. They're not used to that. They're used to a little bit of assimilation. They're used to coming at us and trying to pretend as if we don't have a certain level of education. All the things that they want to say about me, they lying. I'm just saying. They got to make up lies. So one charge is, number one, make sure that you are not going to be somebody that continues to perpetrate the lies. We're going to need y'all to stand in the gap. That is something that everyone can do, because let me tell you, a lot of people got hoodwinked. And that's how we ended up with this administration. So I'm asking you, all of y'all, to be truth warriors. Every time somebody says something, whether it's online or whether it's in person, you shut them down with the truth. That's number one. Number two, back to the stars. This isn't the time to say, oh my gosh, what do I do, or I can't do anything. This is the time to rise to the occasion. This is the time to tap into the ancestors, because we don't know what Brother Malcolm thought was on the other side, or any of the other civil rights leaders. But we know that they kept pressing forward. So I'm asking you to tap in. We don't know what lies on the other side. But here's the reality. We know that they're trying to take us back. And we know that we ain't going back. But what does it look like to move us forward? I want you to recognize that we got a bunch of incompetent folk that are running around, and they got the audacity to think that they can do anything. I'm looking at all of y'all. Stop doubting yourselves. Believe in yourselves. Whatever tables you sit at, remember, especially those good old diverse tables, that if you sitting at that table, chances are you didn't get there because your mama called somebody or your daddy called somebody. You got there because you worked it and you earned it. So stop doubting yourselves. If you believe that your call on your life is to run for office, run. If you believe that your call on your life is to organize for somebody else, then do it. If you believe that your call on your life is to go and testify, whether it's at city council, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the federal level, whatever it is, if it's about starting that nonprofit, start it. I am trying to tell you that there's a lot of people that have somehow failed up in D.C. right now. So I know that there is nothing that you can't accomplish, and this will be our greatest moment. Because if everything was hunky-dory, let me tell you, you couldn't see the stars. But this is where we got to dig deep, y'all. So I'm begging you, I'm imploring you, if you're here, you understand the importance of our roots. Tap in and know that there's so much that we enjoy in our lives only because they did it for us. We owe it to them to make sure that we carry forward, and we do it for generations coming behind us. she's so pretty. Oh. Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me get out your way. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I know. Please give another round of applause for our sister. So fearless, so courageous. Before you go, Congresswoman, we have a citation for you from the New York City Council. The City of New York proudly recognizes Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a relentless advocate for civil liberties and justice, who was the sole black freshman and youngest black lawmaker in Texas during the 87th legislative session, devoting her life to protecting the rights of underrepresented communities. And whereas, as the founding member of the Texas Progressive Caucus and the Texas Caucus on Climate, Energy, and Environment, Congresswoman Crockett enhanced office accessibility and accountability, championed economic opportunity, and criminal justice reform, filing more bills than any other freshman. With a background as a public defender and a civil rights attorney, Congresswoman Crockett's work in the Bowie County Public Defender's Office underscores her commitment to protecting the vulnerable, especially children at risk in the criminal justice system, a dedication that has continued in her role as U.S. Representative for Texas's 30th Congressional District. This is why you can't believe these DEI lies. Her resume longer than all these people that are talking about her. And finally, whereas Congresswoman Crockett's commitment to justice is reflected in her education and leadership, including her membership in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and her past role as some Crimson and Cream in the room, and her past role as chair of the Bowie County Democratic Party, and as she continues to shape her community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the New York City Council gratefully honors Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for her outstanding contributions to public service, her tireless advocacy for civil rights and social justice, and her enduring impact on the lives of those she serves, both in Texas and across the nation. I think these words speak not just for City Council, but for everybody in this room. Congresswoman, we're so grateful for you. Thank you. We're coming around. We're almost there. We just have to take a group picture with Congresswoman Crockett and the other awardees, and then a quick. Can I sneak in a picture, act like I know y'all? You know, I'm gonna just do it.
these three right here. Oh. They,
Come on, let's do it.
I need a shit.
Okay, we're going.
Right here, right here, right here. Just these three.
Yeah, just these three right here.
All right, folks, let's return to order. We're going to continue the program. All right? Thank you for your patience. We're going to return to order and continue the program.
Yeah. Man. All right, everybody. We want to keep this show on the road so folk can get home. And we also have some other awardees that we want to acknowledge, and we want to make sure that they get our time and love and attention and care and respect. Man, I love when y'all listen to me. I feel so good right now. Yeah. We got a couple more awards, then we're gonna be wrapped, y'all. So y'all got time to connect and hug and talk and take pictures. But first, I want to announce our next awardee. And I really be meaning it when I tell you I love these people. You know, often when I listen to Brother Malcolm speak, there's a deeply poetic quality to his rhythmic style, to the delivery of his words, to his use of metaphor to convey his messages. And the next Vanguard honoree is a poet, somebody whose voice, like Malcolm's, conveys power and truth and that reaches deep down in your spirit. She's a Brooklyn-born poet. She's a writer. She's an activist. Her name is El-Hajj Monet, and she's a testament to the continuing resonance. That's right, to the continuing resonance of the spoken word in awakening consciousness and igniting change. As the youngest winner of the New York Poets Cafe Grand Slam title, El-Hajj Monet has carried her verses from New York to stages across the globe, from Cuba and the Netherlands to the NAACP's Barack Obama inaugural event and the Women's March on Washington. Once called the true definition of an artist. This is the highest of cotton. This is the highest of praise. She was called the true definition of an artist by the late, great Harry Belafonte. She continues to expand the boundaries of what poetry can achieve in our movement for justice. She had an album that was called When the Poems Do What They Do. She was nominated for a Grammy for that debut album that came out in 2023. If y'all ain't heard it, make sure y'all check it out. She works with Urban Word NYC and the Urban Arts Partnership to nurture the next generation of voice. But I gotta tell you, I know Aja Monet. I met her on the plane to Palestine. First time, both of our first time to Palestine. I ain't know her. She sat across from me. I don't talk much when I don't know people, so I didn't say nothing. She ain't say nothing. We landed. We figured it out. And for the next couple of weeks, we bonded. She became my sister for life. I watched her. There's photos of her staring soldiers down, asking them questions, grilling them. She ain't had no gun. They did. But she had the words. She had the mind. She had the spirit. She had the courage. I've watched Aja show up in refugee camps. I've watched her show up at fancy affairs. I've watched her show up in the fanciest of places and speak truth to power. She wasn't there to get her picture taken. She was there to challenge the powerful to do better and to do different. She is a true definition of a revolutionary. I adore this sister. I love this sister. I'm proud to call her my sister, my comrade, and my friend. Please give it up for Aja Monet.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry about how late this is run, but I'm gonna try to continue to give what I prepared. And if the spirit moves me, I'll switch it up. Okay. I'll start by saying that this feels like a very uncomfortable time to be accepting awards. Though I'm extremely grateful, because these are the kinds of cultural institutions whose recognitions we seek, that we need to be among our folk, our comrades devoted to the cosmology of our interior lives, to share a particular way of looking at the world, to be curious about that looking so as to be. In a world of forgetting and differing news, there is a constant, the changing same, if you will. In the midnight crying hour, there's the litany of our living. The art of remembering is sacred. This is not an accidental legacy. We remember El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. We remember his gentleness, his humor, and his vulnerability. How he would write letters and treasure map expeditions. Love letters he would leave behind for Betty Shabazz, the poet. We remember the poet Malcolm, who showed us how the heart talks, how poetry demands contemplation in the face of reactionaries or the ivory towerists, the ambulance chasers. The poet Malcolm reminds us poetry demands our contemplation and our humility. It demands our inner looking, to wander in the realm of feeling and having been felt, the privilege to be contemplative, the voice of your marrow. We live with the answer in our listening. Poet Malcolm taught me that the poem is sufficient. The act of creating a poem is a being, improvising as a cosmic event of the highest spiritual order, the feeling principle. In an era of artificial intelligence, the only true counter we have is our emotional intelligence, the style of what we call a spirit. The ingredients for our future are found in the poetry of being alive. We remember you, Malcolm the poet. Art is not just a reflection of the world, but a tool to change it. It's a way of making the invisible visible, of turning the oppression we endure into a call for liberation and offering to the laboring love of dignified people's self-determination. Art delves into the depths of our dimensions and excavates for the purpose of transmission and transmutation. Between the lines, there are windows shaped as mirrors. There are people for the muted cries and crevices, the smallness and vastness of us, to the contradictions within ourselves that don't always fit neatly into categories or definitions. In that space of song, of resonance, the rawness of feeling sounds between us, honest and real. Art, poetry, is where we go to question, to commune and confide. The grace of wailing, moaning, humming, hissing, scatting. There are many dots that lead to the unfolding of our story, the burgeoning of our being. Poet, Brother Malcolm, taught us the value of life, the invitation to be praised. Each one of us is possible because of the community that nurtures us, the writing of the poem. It has been said by William Carlos Williams, it is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. And so the work continues. We carry on for those of us obsessed by our art forms or creative passions. It is the grace, the perseverance, the changing same, the repetition of concern, the passion, the persistence, the variations of struggles, challenges, experiences we have all had to undoubtedly face. We must learn the cosmic awe of listening, the embodied way, a kind of feeling beyond and beneath what is said. Many will say, many will speak, many will dance, many will show their teeth. But there's a way of voicing, a way of reading beneath what is said, beneath what is seen. We must find the one within that beckons us out from ourselves, the person we choose to be regardless of who bears witness. Brother Malcolm, Poet Malcolm, taught us to go inward, to contemplate, to excavate our souls for the truth and pursuit of our liberation, to face our contradictions, our failures, our flaws. What a life committed to accountability must demand. In the words of poet June Jordan, sometimes I am the terrorist I must disarm. As we continue to fight, to struggle, to dream and envision, let us commit to never become that which terrorizes us, to not become so enamored by Western ways of looking, imperialist notions of success, that we neglect our meaningful and necessary connections to oppress people across the globe. The importance and necessity of solidarity. May we remain tethered to the struggles for liberation in the Congo. May we lift up the Congo. May we remember the Congo. May we remember the blood shed in the Congo. As Auntie Morrison would have it, to be reminded that if we are free, it is our job to free someone else. Thank you so much for having me and for this award. Thank you to the Shabazz family.
We are living in a time when a lot of money, power, and influence is being directed toward erasing Black history. As the executive director of the Alabama African American Civil Rights Heritage Sites Consortium, our next awardee is helping to preserve and safeguard that history so that, to paraphrase Malcolm's words, we can become dedicated to learning about our past in order to better understanding our present condition and be empowered to transform it. Reverend Lukata Mjumbe is a nationally recognized and respected pastor and dynamic advocate for human rights in the tradition of the Black Freedom Movement. Reverend Njumbe has pastored congregations across the states of Alabama and New Jersey, served as a policy advisor to 2 members of Congress, and has helped transform communities as an innovative community leader and scholar for more than 3 decades. He is a member of the Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers and a high honors graduate of Morehouse College, that's right, and Princeton Theological Seminary. Please let us congratulate our next Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award recipient, Reverend Lukata Mjumbe. People in the back, before we just move on and give this brother his wonderful and highly deserved award, if you're in the back standing, please come and have a seat. It allows us to have the clear path. It's a safety issue, and it's also an aesthetic issue. All them people watching around the world want to look like we here together, not shifting out the dough. All right? Stay a while.
It's all right. I give thanks to God. I give thanks to the Shabazz family and the extended family, to Ilyasah, to Malak, to all of you who are gathered, and I believe I'm the last one here, so we're almost done. And this is going to be, for me, a night of ironies, because I give thanks for the legacy of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X, for the legacy of Betty Shabazz, for the legacy that was born out of them. I am because they were, and we are because they still is. But the irony, one of the ironies, is that the black preacher is probably going to be the only speaker that honors the time limit of 2 to 3 minutes. Somebody say hallelujah.
Amen.
I give thanks, and Brother Mark talked about the definition of Vanguard. On the front lines, the leaders, and there's something about a Vanguard. A Vanguard, you frequently know their names. And yet another irony is I have to acknowledge how I got my name. My name is Lukata Mjumbe. It means dynamic representative or dynamic messenger. And it was given to me by a name of a man, of a freedom fighter that you may not know. His name is Sundiata Acoli. Now, you know the name Assata Shakur, but do you know the name of the person who was driving the car on the New Jersey Turnpike on the way to the state of Alabama? Do you know that name? Because when he gave me my name, Lukata Mjumbe, Sundiata Acoli said to me, I'm giving you this name, dynamic representative, because you have to be a voice to speak for all of those women and men, all of those communities, and nobody knows their name. You have to be a voice for them. You have to speak for them. And for 50 years of the last 60 years, Sundiata Acoli was a political prisoner. And we need to recognize him today because he is here with us. I want to ask my brother, our freedom fighter, who stood up for us, whose name is not known like so many of the other ordinary, extraordinary freedom fighters who will never be receiving a Vanguard award. Sundiata Acoli, could you stand up and let's give him a hand. Let's give him a round of applause. He's right there. You may not know his name, but we need to know his struggle. Everybody needs to get up and put your hands together because freedom is not free. And there are those who were inspired by the legacy of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X, and struggled for us and fought for us. So I just want to thank you, Sundiata. I just want to thank all of those ordinary, extraordinary women who have been on the front line, but we don't know their name, like Joyce O'Neill, who heard Malcolm X in Selma, Alabama at 16 years old. Ilyasah came and spoke with her and sat with her at Brown Chapel AME Church in Selma, Alabama, as she was inspired about the story of the house Negro and the field Negro. The names of the community of Teresa Burrows in Greensboro, Alabama, who surrounded a home 2 weeks before Dr. King was assassinated and called all the men in the community, round up. he will not be killed in Greensboro, Alabama. Get your guns, get your strength, get your courage. We're going to be nonviolent if they let us, but they will not take away the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 2 weeks before he was assassinated. I speak for them today. I speak for Teresa Burrows. I speak for Joyce O'Neill. I speak to and speak for my father-in-law. 94 years old last week, a freedom rider in 1961, Clyde LaRock Carter. We don't know his name. But I say to you and all of those of you whose names we do not know, we are the ordinary, extraordinary, the extraordinary, ordinary women, men, communities that Malcolm fought for, that Malcolm spoke for, that Malcolm loved, and that Malcolm expects that we will continue the legacy of struggle. Our people united will never be defeated, and we must preserve, protect, and promote our legacy of struggle by any means necessary. Probably about 3 minutes. Amen. Hallelujah.
Whew. That was powerful. And that was only 3 minutes in Black Preacher time. Amen. Amen. But it was absolutely worth it. And I'm so grateful for you for uplifting the name of our dear brother, Sundiata. We owe such a debt to you and to so many others. May we continue to do everything we can to be worthy of the legacy that they left before us. Let us move on. On February 4th, 1965, just over 2 weeks before his assassination, Malcolm X spoke before an audience of more than 300 young people from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee at Brown Chapel AME Church in Selma, Alabama. There, Minister Malcolm X talked about the importance of political education and consciousness and the power of the vote. Here is a short clip from that powerful speech.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes.
We have just a couple more things. Actually, what did you say? Snake. Okay. Oh, just to say that, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Again, one of the important things about this message is that Brother Malcolm was talking to the kids at SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, as we said in the introduction. This is an important thing also to understand that social change, the most radical action, the most overwhelming social transformations we've seen in this country have happened when we've invested in our young people, when we've taught the babies. And one of the most amazing legacies of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz is education. And when we think specifically about the legacy of Dr. Betty, a lifelong investment in educating our children, educating our young people, creating possibilities for them so that they can see the world differently, not just to have information, but as Ilyasah said at the beginning, to have the right information, to have the right history, to have the right story, to have the right politics. That's what we do here at the Shabazz Center, and that is why we need your help, and that is why we humbly ask all of your support and investment to the extent that you can. We got a final musical act from this. I mean, they were incredible the first time. The idea of Malcolm in opera didn't hit me at first. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I was a little worried. Right. But once I heard them, I understood that these were geniuses. And they were able to capture and articulate Malcolm in a way that couldn't be captured by another genre. They're doing something different. They're doing what black people always do. When stuff gets taken from us, we take it back. Give me that beat, fool. And then we transform it, and as my brother said, we elevate it. That's what it means to be us. So let's give another round of applause, another warm invitation back to the stage to Kenneth Kellogg and the Seattle Opera. They'll be performing the Mecca scene from X, the life and times of Malcolm X. That was amazing. Well, family, we have reached the end of our program. Tonight we have commemorated our beloved brother Malcolm and our sister, Dr. Betty Shabazz. To Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz, board chairperson at the Shabazz Center, and the entire Shabazz family. Malak, so good to see you. Thank you for sharing your parents with us. And I mean that, because no one in here understands what it means to have to share your parents with the world. Thank you for sharing your parents with us in the world and for your tireless work keeping their revolutionary spirits alive so that we may incorporate the powerfully brilliant work of Malcolm X into our collective work going forward. I also want to thank the many dedicated board members, the members of the board of directors here at the Shabazz Center. Aisha El-Adawiya, legend. Curtis Archer, Dr. Regina Jackson, Sephora H. Khan Esquire, Sam Kulak Esquire, Layla Lacey, Esley Merritt Esquire, Larry Miller, and Neville Welch, all extraordinary people. I'm so proud to work with all of you and to learn from all of you. To the production team, to the interns, to the volunteers here at the Shabazz Center, your work makes this sacred space possible. And while we're talking about people who make this thing possible, I want to specifically thank Sabine Poisson for the aesthetics here. This place looks like it do because of Sabine's work. Can you come to the stage, please? You need a special. That all we? No. No. We're gonna clap you onto the stage because you make this place beautiful. Thank you. Just come. I know you shy, but I just want y'all to see the person who makes all of this magic happen, who makes this beautiful place come alive, who brings the spirit of Sister Betty and Brother Malcolm, not just into our hearts and our spirits, but into our eyes and into our ears. This place is extraordinary because of you, so just thank you. Can you say something to the people? Just thank you so much. Thank you. We love you. Okay. She said thank you very much. Oh, yes, and Gay Anderson. That's another one. You know, again, these places are only as good as they're well curated. And curation is everything, and we have an extraordinary person. No, I mean, this is the best. We got the best of everything around here. Gay Anderson, Director of Curation. Where you at? Where you at? I want y'all to look. I can tell in her eyes she ain't coming up here, but y'all look. She is wonderful. Come on up. And while I'm doing that, I also want to shout out Claudia Hayden, who is our multimedia and production lead. Wait, come on up, y'all. I also want to thank everybody here for ensuring that the Shabazz Center remains a beacon of community education and empowerment. Yep. Yes. Yeah, please say something. She says thank you. You can tell when Negro's ready to go home. Yes. All right. I want to thank everybody here for coming out and supporting this wonderful event in person. I also want to thank everybody for supporting this wonderful event on our live stream. This was one for the record books. This was one for history, and I'm so glad that you all participated in this commemoration. If you haven't done so already, please visit theshabazzcenter.org, and if you can, please make a donation. Let's do our part to help this vital center continue to do its important work. Your generous gift will make a tremendous difference. May we all leave here recommitted to Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz's vision a vision of justice, a vision of dignity, and a vision of human rights for all people. Now, we will end our time together, as always, with a prayer. Prayer was essential to Brother Malcolm's life, and it is especially fitting that the son of the Imam who delivered the prayer at his funeral 60 years ago is here tonight to lead us in a closing prayer. Al-Fatiha. Welcome and thank you, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Hisham Jabir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. These were the last words of our beloved brother El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X. And I tonight personally want to return that greeting. Wa alaikum salam, ya El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. And may peace be upon you, Malcolm X. You know, I often wonder, do we know Malcolm? Or do we know anyone who knows Malcolm? I was 9 years old, February 21st, 1965. I was too young to know Malcolm. But I knew the world in which Malcolm grew up in because we share a common history and a common heritage. I'm very honored to Ilyasah and the Shabazz family for allowing me and my brother Imam Ali to stand in the place of our father again and again and again. Thank you very much. Malcolm is my brother and we have a commonality. He went to Mecca, he made the pilgrimage. I too went to Mecca and made the pilgrimage. He went to Philistine or Palestine. I too went to Philistine or Palestine. He went to Egypt, to El-Azhar. I too went to Egypt and El-Azhar. And I loved his history so much that I do lectures about his life in Arabic. And one of the most profound statements that he made, and it resonates as an iconic echo for revolution, and that is بأي وسيلة ضرورية, by any means necessary. And you see, I'm from the old school, and I believe the revolution will not be televised. So I'm very careful with my words. But we know that Malcolm is not dead. He is alive. As the Quran says in chapter 2, 154, وَلَا تَكُونُوا لِمَن يُقْتَلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. Do not say that those who have been slain in the cause of truth and justice, that they are dead, but they are alive, but you cannot perceive it. And I see today that we are all the recipients of that vitality that echoes from our fallen martyr, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. And in closing, I'd like to say that standing here in the space of my father who stood every year after the assassination of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, that I'm honored to stand here. My father came forth under unfavorable circumstances, against threats when all odds were against him, that caused his very own children to be isolated in isolation out of harm's way. And we lost that daddy's home relationship. But we grew and we learned. And it is an intrinsic obligation that we, in conjunction with the Shabazz family, keep the legacy of our fallen martyr alive. I'd like to close with a prayer. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bil sabr. I swear by time through the ages that surely man will end in ruins, except those who have faith and do righteous deeds, and they cooperate with one another on the basis of truth and patience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, family. Before we go, I also would like to acknowledge Mayor Ernie Davis from Mount Vernon, who is here. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much for your tireless support as well. All right, family. It is time now to welcome back our African Healing Circle drummers, who will transition us until the final portion of tonight's program. Thank you.
Everyone, you can eat right after this, okay? There's food there. Thank you.